What do you think attracts you to the theater?
I think the most basic answer to that is I love stories. I love telling stories. I love hearing stories. I love seeing stories. I love reading stories. I think just that is, and that's really what theater, for me, and my favorite part of theater distills down to is just hearing a story and how it can affect your life as in the most simple of terms.
This is a conversation I recorded with Robin Fowler. He's an artist in residence at the New Hampshire Theater Project, so it was for that podcast that I sometimes produce for them. It used to be called the New Hampshire Theater Project Podcast, but now it's called Applying Theater. And of course, we reserve the right to change the name again.
What's the best kind of story? Man versus versus nature?
Yeah, those are the classic tropes. I don't know. I'm always more interested in stories of people. The ones where it seems like there might be a chance to win. I don't know. Man versus nature always feels like up against an unstoppable force because you can't, nature, you're not going to stop nature really ever. But I feel like with a human on human story, you get that hope a little bit at least that, well, if I can just talk to them. I always feel that way. Maybe I'm an optimist.
No, I'm so conflict averse that my favorite kind of story is like, where there's people in it, but there's really no conflict, like a Joe Swanberg movie.
Sure.
Just people hanging out,
drinking beers.
Yeah, they go to work.
Yeah.
They talk at home.
That's
movie over.
I like those kind of stories too.
Robin and I talked at this cafe in Dover called Flight, which has also had a lot of names over the years. When Christy and I were teenagers, it was called Cafe on the Corner, and it was this dingy little hole in the wall with taped together couches and coffee-stained carpets. It's a lot different now. It's all reclaimed wood and those embossed tin ceiling tiles and coffee equipment like a science lab. My friend Pat's band was supposed to play there a couple of nights ago, but the show got canceled. Sitting there talking to Robin, I had no reason to stop and cherish the moment. Sitting in a crowded cafe, doing a podcast interview. It's kind of a normal thing for me. Or, it was.
I don't know. I'm drawn to I think I'm a little more drawn to the darker stories, the things that I don't necessarily like to experience in real life, but I want to feel that kind of uncomfortable way that a situation can make you feel that I wouldn't want to experience that situation in real life, but here's a safe way to feel a little uncomfortable, put myself in an uncomfortable position.
That makes sense because when you walked in here, you had a sticker on your jacket that said just horror.
Yeah, yes, that's true. I am a big horror fan, yeah.
I like that they have a sticker just for that.
Yeah, there's not a lot of horror plays. There's not a lot of horror theater out there.
That's true.
It's a tradition that there are suspense and thrillers. They're not done as much anymore because people just go to the movies now. People watch Netflix. It was much bigger back when there was only theater. When there were no movies,
It's probably just because it's really hard to clean up fake blood.
Yeah.
I went to a wrestling match at Sue's in Rollinsford, and we got sprayed with fake blood, and I could not get it out of my clothes.
Oh, no.
I still have
that's
fake
poorly
blood
made.
stains.
That's poorly made fake blood. See
Yeah,
what you
it
do.
should wash right out.
Right? Yeah. Food coloring and laundry detergent.
Laundry detergent.
Yeah, you just
Okay.
make it with laundry detergent.
Yeah.
That's the secret.
Then you just wash it right out.
Yeah,
That's
then
perfect.
it washes right out.
Yeah, in high school we used to use corn syrup.
Yeah, sure.
You're right, that it's way stickier.
Yeah, you can't get it in your mouth that way, but...
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, you give up a lot when you can't put it in your mouth.
Yeah, right, exactly. What's the point if I can't dribble fake blood out of my mouth?
As much as I've heard about, productions of Macbeth or something where they have, the blood bags, I've never seen it. Every production I've ever seen where that would happen, they just use, red light instead.
Yeah, or red fabric I've seen before.
Yeah, red fabric.
I've seen a couple of shows where they go with the blood. But, a lot of theaters are just scared of that mess, too. So I like messy theater. I think we should do it more often. I like that's one of the unique things about a live show is that you're seeing it right in front of you. It's like the magic trick of... I like theater where things get destroyed. I like theater where it feels like it feels dangerous to the audience, or like, oh my god, I can't believe they're doing that. Not necessarily in an offensive way, but in a way that's like, wow, they're really smashing that thing live on stage in front of me. They have to do that every single night. Whereas in a movie, you're like, oh, they smashed that thing. They had to do it one time. Or,
Right.
they probably did it a million times for the takes.
It
but
depends on how much you know about movies, right?
Exactly, yeah.
Some people think, like, the tiny men in my TV are doing this right now.
Exactly. But seeing it live on stage,
Yeah.
it's, oh my gosh, they have to do this every single night. And it's almost impressive. They're going to take the time to clean it up afterwards because this moment is worth the destruction.
People I interview are always concerned about the sound levels when we meet at places like cafes. I tell them that I like the noise. I like hearing other people. I like the sound of life going on in the background. And not for nothing, but it's a lot easier to edit. It's easy to splice chunks out of sentences and remove long pauses where a person recovers the point that they were trying to make, but they start talking again with a totally different tonal inflection than the one they started with. It happens a lot more than you would think. But I love a good editing challenge. I love creative problem solving. Seamlessly editing something someone said for clarity, it feels great. One thing I do is sometimes I'll steal a stock phrase from another sentence. Or I mean, or maybe even just a good and I use it to bridge together two connected thoughts that were not originally said in order. People tend to speak inside out when they're answering questions, and that's usually okay, but sometimes you want to help them out, help them be better understood. Sometimes I can't quite get it right, and I have to cover the edit with guitar feedback or radio static, and that's okay. I don't mind. I don't mind being defeated by an edit. I do my best. Sometimes I take the L. It's all good. It's all part of the process. Editing used to be my very favorite part of the process, but now it's the people.
Let's kind of go through some of the roles that you have been involved in. What does it mean to be a stage manager?
Stage managers do a lot. I think stage manager is one of the biggest jobs in theater that people have no idea what a stage manager does. When you say director, people go, okay, that's an easy job. I know what that means. Acting, okay, that one's obvious. I'm watching them do the thing right now.
Yeah.
Lighting, that one's right in the title. With stage management, you are basically running the entire show, and when I say everything, I mean pretty much everything that you see happening on stage happens because of a stage manager. In a theater like New Hampshire Theater Project, where it's smaller productions and a smaller theater, the running of the show isn't quite as intense as stage management can be. Working in bigger theaters, I am sitting there with a script with all of the cues written out, lighting, sound, scene changes, everything. I'm wearing a headset, and I'm calling every single cue to a person that's running a light board and to a person that's running a sound board. So during the show, it's saying lights up, go, lights down, go, change scenes, all right, sound, go, all of that kind of thing. So everything that's happening on the stage is happening because the stage manager is saying for it to happen at that moment. In a place like NHDP, where the stage manager is sitting directly behind the audience, I'm not calling all of those things out. For the most part, I am running those things. So I am running lights, running sound. During rehearsals, a stage manager is taking notes, coordinating communication between all departments. So if we're in rehearsal, I'm taking down blocking, and I'm saying, oh, okay, we need a pencil for this scene. Take a note for props. Props, we need a pencil. Oh, the pencil gets broken in this scene, so we need 12 pencils for the entire run. Oh, but the pencil has to be green because they say it's green in the script. So I'm taking all of these notes and sending it to the people that need it. And then we have production meetings where we get together with production and coordinate every little aspect of production. So the stage manager is kind of the hub of the wheel for every show that happens. It's a big job.
It seems like a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
And as you said, it's the job that people are the least aware of.
Exactly. It's probably the biggest job that nobody knows about.
So the disposition that's required is you have to be someone who's okay with doing a lot of work and getting very little of the credit.
Absolutely, yes. Yeah, I like performing. I like the spotlight occasionally, but I very much like being involved and having nobody look at me. I would say I enjoy stage managing every single show that I stage manage. I mean, part of the joy of stage managing a show is getting those trouble shows, those hard shows that are like, okay, this one's going to be tough. All right, we have to move this massive set piece off stage in complete blackness in 12 seconds. And there's a quick change happening at the same time. How are we going to make this happen? That's part of the joy of the backstage work, is making the magic happen for the audience and not to have them even know that our job exists, really. They're like, how is that set piece already there? How did that appear? I didn't even notice it happened.
Sometimes I think the key to being happy as an artist is understanding that creativity is mostly problem solving.
Oh, yeah.
And like once you learn to embrace that, then you have a lot more fun.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely.
When you're like, when I was young, when you're like a young creative person, right, you have so much energy for all of the problems, for problem solving, that it's fun. And then maybe you drift into a point where that part stops being fun. And then you have to like learn to fall in love with it again, or you're in trouble.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
like why people end up not being. They like leave creativity altogether.
Yeah, they're like, I came here to be creative, not to solve problems. Well, that is what it is.
Yeah, that's all there is. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I spend a lot of time when I'm editing this podcast, like looking for like a sentence that ends with like an S sound, so that you can like splice two sentences together.
Leave it together.
Yeah. It's like.
All right, I'll try to end all my sentences with S's now.
Actually, like being in a cafe is actually really helpful too.
Oh, yeah.
Surprisingly.
The murmur.
You'd think that the background noise would be a problem, but you can really you can just like mix them together really well.
That makes sense.
It's
That's
the most difficult part of my creative life side project doing this is like air conditioners in conference rooms. Because they come on and
the
off,
room tone,
on and off, and I'm like, can we just either keep it on or turn it off? One or the other.
So the focus of this season of the podcast was supposed to be about how we make progress and at what cost, with some really fine point type stuff. There's an episode that's coming that has a lot about building codes in it, and I still think that's really important, but at the moment it feels a little beside the point. When it's done, I might hang on to it for a while, but then again, when will it feel right? One thing that's been particularly frustrating about this pandemic, I mean, obviously beyond the incredible fear and almost unspeakable dread, the other much lower tier and more podcast-specific thing that's awful about it is how much it has sidelined so many community groups and individuals in the public space doing important and interesting and incremental work. That's at least one point that I was going to make, the importance of that incremental work and how complicated it is and how it comes to be. Robin's work as a stage manager, that's how I was going to tie a theater-specific episode into the rest of the season. He's one of the many people that I wanted to talk to who knows how to steer a big ship. And I was so excited to finally be a part of several such communities, to be involved in that kind of work. It's something that I've wanted for so long, to be involved and understood and appreciated as a piece of a larger group in the service of a larger idea. It's a mountain I've been trying to climb for years. I think before I even knew what I was looking for, it was what I was looking for. And as soon as I really got going on the trail up that mountain, the whole thing vanished. The groups that I joined aren't meeting, or we're just meeting on the phone, and there's little ability or desire to keep fighting those incremental fights now when we need so much energy for the big one. And of course, the podcast was an integral part of that whole process. It was the axe that I was using to climb the mountain, and hopefully to show other people how to climb similar mountains. Am I mixing too many metaphors now? It's a ship, it's a mountain. It was both the relatively new theme of the podcast and my chief creative motivation and obsession for the last year or so. And it's all on hold now, and some of it is maybe never coming back. My idea for what this new show is about, or even my idea of how I was going to produce it, it's not useful now. Every idea that I had has to wait or be fundamentally changed. The way that I would go out into the world to talk to people, like I'm talking with Robin here at this cafe that's closed now, that going out and being there was such a key aspect of the last podcast now. I used to be so bad at meeting people, but this show is becoming my great secret way to put my best foot forward. My recent interviews, they would always lead to something else. After we met, Najee Brown, he wanted me to come back and interview his cast for some promotional videos they were shooting. That was supposed to happen about a week ago. They're still in rehearsal, or, they were. I'm sure this is how a lot of people feel. Socially, economically, artistically, romantically. All of us got the rug pulled out from under us somewhere, right when it was getting interesting.
I've been in and out, because I had a baby in the middle of all this season of the theater.
Yeah.
So, there was The Niceties, which was
Yep.
a pretty straightforward production.
Yep.
Then there was Pride and Prejudice, which I saw Pride and Prejudice. That was, in terms of lighting and everything else, that was
Yeah.
like a much more complicated
Absolutely.
production and more people,
Yes.
or at least people playing more characters.
Yeah, yeah. It's hard to tell.
And so the ones that I didn't see were It's a Wonderful Life and Robin Hood.
Yep.
Both of which, at least in pictures and stuff, appeared to be much more elaborate.
Yeah, yeah. Well, so elaborate in different ways.
Yeah.
I think Pride and Prejudice and Sherwood are actually somewhat similar in a lot of ways. At least these scripts, these versions of them, and also by virtue of being in the space that they were in.
Kind of just having like puffy costumes.
Exactly, puffy costumes, but people playing a lot of characters,
Yeah.
all in one location, but multiple different scenes. So it did have scene changes, but these scenes were delineated by 2 chairs in this location, or 2 blocks and a log in this location for Sherwood. So
Yeah.
just very simple, small things for the set. Whereas It's a Wonderful Life, I directed that show, and my goal for that one was to take the audience back in time as much as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Now, on a limited budget, in a type of space like New Hampshire Theater Project, we can't necessarily do that by recreating the 1940s. It was done as if it was a 1940s live radio play, was
Yeah.
the conceit of Wonderful Life. So I wanted to transport people back in time to the 1940s when they walked into the theater. With a limited budget, we can't necessarily do that down to the smallest detail, but we can get as much of the feeling as we possibly can. And that so all took place in a radio studio where the radio play was performed live in front of the audience. The audience existed in that space with the performers on stage, so they were interacting with the audience. The audience was, in a way, part of the show. We weren't dragging people up on stage. It wasn't a
Yeah.
Blue Man Group situation or something. But the audience did exist. We had an applause sign. They talked directly to the audience. So that was one where we embraced the claustrophobic nature of the space and said, okay, this is our radio studio recording booth with a live studio audience. How can we make this audience feel as included as possible? They're an integral part of telling this story.
Yeah. And that production also involved a live band and a Foley artist, right?
Yeah, we had a live piano player. We didn't have a full band, but yes, we also live Foley artist. Yep. So all live sound effects. A tiny little door closing, shoes on hands, walking across the floor, cornflakes being crunched, water being splashed around. It was a lot of fun.
Where do you go for that material when you're trying to, do you go back to kind of like archival footage of, I don't know, Orson Welles doing War of the Worlds or whatever?
Yeah, I mean, in a way, the script is designed to do it that way. So the script had a lot of here's how we did it. If you want to, here's how we did it in our first production of this show ever. So this is how we recommend you do it. But we changed a few things, added a few things, things that worked better in our space, things that were easier to find for us. They had a few different options in the script of how to do things. So there was a lot of helpful instruction in the script that we...
Crunching cornflakes, is that snow?
We used it for a couple different things.
There's no point in It's a Wonderful Life where someone gets like punched in the face.
There are actually a couple places.
There's like a bone cracking sound?
We had for that one we used a boxing glove and an old hose.
Nice.
You slap the hose against a boxing glove and it sounds like a real good punch in the face.
Yeah.
But the cornflakes we put cornflakes in a wax paper bag and you squeeze that and that's walking through the snow. And then you put it on a baking sheet and crush it and that was ice breaking.
Oh, very good.
Yeah.
I love that.
Works well in audio media. We didn't. I wish we didn't get a chance to record that as an actual radio show or something. I would have liked to have had the chance to do that just to see what it actually sounded like.
Yeah,
you could sit in the audience and close your eyes and get the full experience, but it would have been neat to.
I would have done it if I hadn't. I was in the hospital.
Yeah,
at the time.
of course.
Yes, that's actually funny. One of my favorite old creative memories was I used to do this animated show, and I needed to have the sound of like a robot's head falling off, and I was standing in my backyard just throwing pots and pans at the ground.
Yeah. It's for art.
And I want to say also that, all told, I have been incredibly fortunate and lucky in this thing so far. I know that many others have it much worse, and it's going to get worse for a lot of us still. I don't want to even try to address the full scope of what we've lost and still stand to lose, but I just felt compelled, before we go any further, to address the ways this podcast got hit beyond the obvious fact that the Bright Eyes Reunion Tour is definitely going to get canceled. This show, it's really tied up in my sense of self, my emotional orientation. And so I think that's why I'm having trouble knowing what to do to help both me and the show stand up straight in the days and weeks ahead. When it's over, I know what our job is. Clearly, the job is to rebuild these communities that we've lost as much and as quickly as we possibly can. But it's so hard to know how far off that'll be. So what do we do until then? What is this show about until then? What am I about? Yeah, I still don't know. I thought maybe if I talked through it, I'd have something by the end, but nope, not yet. I mean, thanks for listening anyway. I hope you're doing okay. The music in this episode is from George Barber. We'll be back.